rise and shout. It is time for What's Trending.
Nakua makes a sliding catch for 6.
Who's in and who's out on the actual roster and on the coaching staff for that matter? Jaron Hall still not officially ruled out, as we just documented, at quarterback, but a bunch of other starters will not play.
They're never going to say, yeah, he's ruled out.
Of course not. It's gamesmanship, right? It's gamesmanship. Yeah. A bunch of other starters will not play, and we know for sure of that in the New Mexico Bowl. And we'll get to the specifics of that in just a moment. And, of course, again, the coaching staff, who's available to coach BYU's defense? Kalani Sitake, Gennaro Guilford.
That's it, man. Everyone else is gone.
Some Gavin Fowler in the mix as an analyst.
Yeah, you can use all the analysts. Yeah, of course.
Jarom, with BYU's current roster and coaching staff turnover, what are your expectations for the New Mexico Bowl in 2022?
I hate to say it, but I expect BYU to lose. Like, if BYU wins, it'll be awesome. And BYU needs to overcome a few things to do so. If Jaron Hall can't play, Cade Finnegan's got to have a good game. He's got to manage this game effectively. He doesn't have to throw for 300. Christopher Brooks, though, and Hinckley Ropati and Miles Davis, though, they need to maybe run for 300. We've seen that in 2 games this year where BYU went 300+. They're coming off a season-high 358 at Stanford. And that was a winning formula when Jaron Hall went out. Now, Jaron played well and threw some touchdown passes, of course, prior to that. But my expectation is that BYU is going to have to do something drastically different if Jaron Hall cannot go. He has not been ruled out. I don't expect BYU to rule him out. They want SMU to prepare for Jaron Hall. But, you know, with Jacob Conover gone, it would have been the same thing, which is, sorry, who's doing what? We haven't seen this kid play. That would have applied to Jacob, too, even if he was here. But perhaps it's Cade's show. We'll see.
Yeah.
And if Jaron doesn't play, as you pointed out, he will not have played in a bowl game at BYU.
Weird.
Which is pretty odd. The defensive staff is depleted. This BYU defense has given up 30+ a game, 440 total. They've had issues this season, certainly. Doesn't help when most of the staff is gone. Like, I don't imagine it suddenly being better because you have fewer coaches there. So that concerns me as well. And then here's the deal, though. Regardless of what happens, win or loss, we're going to flush this result down the toilet.
You think?
Because the Big 12 is next. I turn back to the 2015. We'll be excited that BYU recovered and won 8 games, but given that the expectation was like 9.5, it's not going to be up to snuff, and so we'll just move on to the next thing soon after that.
If it's a loss, I 100% agree with you.
Yes. If it's a win, like, dude, within days, we'll be like, Big 12, Big 12. Either way. Remember 2015, BYU lost to Utah? We didn't sulk in that. What we did was get excited about the new hire and announcement of Kalani Sitake. Great PR move by BYU. In the press box at Sam Boyd Stadium, they announced that Kalani was the coach. Kalani wasn't even there. It was just, hey, we're hiring Kalani, a.k.a. this is over. This season is over.
Yeah,
Who cares? Like, so I don't expect a ton from this bowl game. I would love for BYU to win. I'm also intimidated by the way SMU is playing. The last 7, as I mentioned, 5-2. The 2 losses respectable. Close to Cincinnati. Blowout loss to Tulane, who's the New Year's 6 G5 team. They're playing good ball. BYU is coming in depleted.
Yes.
This is UAB Part 2.
It's not even that good for BYU.
There's no Tyler Algier, and there's no Baylor Romney.
Exactly. It's not that good for BYU.
I know I'm probably supposed to sell the ball game because we've got a pregame show, but I am interested to see that if BYU's defense can play better than it has, and then somehow that run game saved BYU. Even if Jaron Hall plays this still might not be a BYU win. Like, this is interesting on a lot of fronts. I hope BYU pulls it out.
For sure. Yeah, and you said it. This is the Independence Bowl, but BYU's in worse shape than they were going into that game against UAB. And you don't have Tyler Algier. You have your third-string quarterback, we think, most likely will start in Cade Finnegan.
Who was injured.
Who is also recently, coming out of a boot with an ankle injury. So what's BYU going to get from Cade Finnegan? What am I supposed to expect when this roster is now depleted more so than last year's roster was going into the bowl game, and the coaching staff has been turned over? Like, what? Is it fair to expect BYU to go in this game and win? Oh, yeah, BYU, no problem. Next man up.
It is not, but we will do so regardless.
I do expect to be surprised a little bit by Cade Finnegan.
That's yes.
I
Please.
expect that.
Please.
It's like, oh, okay.
Look at that.
Yeah, look at that throw.
Because we'll be
That's
like,
a nice play.
someone else threw a pass.
Yes.
At BYU.
We saw what? We saw 3 passes from other people, from people not named Jaron Hall this year.
Chase Roberts is the greatest quarterback in BYU history according to his passer rating. You know what I mean, against Baylor. But
yeah, one of them was a receiver. I mean, we saw Jacob Conover throw 1 pass this season.
Into the
right?
dirt. Yeah.
And we just haven't seen it. But so I expect to be
Good choice in the
surprised by Cade Finnegan.
Yeah.
And reports coming out of practice are that Cade's arm is really strong. And Aaron Roderick has said that before. Like, oh, he's got a great arm.
It's just different when you're the potential
For
starter.
sure.
We'll see. Hopefully Jaron plays. If not, Cade's the guy.
I expect, and I've said this before on the show as well, BYU to implement a game plan like we saw specifically against ECU and go heavy on the run game against a porous run defense in SMU.
It's everything defense.
The advantage that BYU has on SMU is clearly the offensive line matched up against SMU's front. Can BYU maintain the ball and run it essentially down SMU's collective throat and keep the ball for a long time and keep it away from the SMU offense? I expect BYU to try and do that and have a game plan just like ECU. If they do that, they got a shot. What's the defense going to look like, though? We're talking about your 3 top linebackers are all out.
Yep.
No Keenan Peely, no Peyton Wilgar, no Max Tooley.
You still have Ben Bywater.
You got Ben Bywater back there.
But those 3 gone, it's tough.
It's now Fisher Jackson that's going to get some run.
Kafusi.
And Jackson Kafusi is going to be elevated in a bigger role.
Yep.
Maybe BYU plays dime the whole time, and maybe they should play dime the whole time because SMU is going to chuck it all over the place.
Maybe. Pepe Tanuvasa the other. Yeah.
Yeah. Does BYU run 1 or 2 linebackers the whole game and just keep a bunch of defensive backs on the field?
I say drop 8 zone, just tip the cap.
No, the key is BYU holding on to the football. So I expect them to try and do that and flex on SMU with the BYU offensive line. But
yes, Christopher Brooks needs one of those games where he goes for like 150.
He's the dude.
He had 164 against Stanford. Great game, 135 against South Florida. It'd be nice if it was one of those games. If Christopher Brooks doesn't run for 150, I don't think BYU wins. Like, even if he runs for 150, it might be a stretch. It's got to be one of those
BYU's
days.
rushing attack collectively needs to rush for 150 plus, for sure.
Oh, Spence, it needs to be 250 plus. Like, 150 will not even approximate winning. Like, you're assuming that you're throwing for 250 because BYU's going to need 400 to 500 yards to win this game.
Just hold on to the ball as long as you possibly can.
If BYU's sub 400, loss.
This is a worse scenario, again, than BYU had in the Independence Bowl.
It's tough.
And, you know, we felt okay because we had confidence in Baylor Romney, and BYU had Tyler Algier. And Tyler Algier did his thing. He was awesome in the Independence Bowl.
But Baylor threw for sub 200, which probably was too low, probably needed to be in the 250 range. If Samson Nakua, if the refs call that no, I'm not going to blame it on the refs. BYU just didn't win the game. BYU just didn't win the game.
It wasn't a fumble, but BYU shouldn't have been in that situation.
SMU, on paper, is not as good as that UAB team last year, though, by the way. Their offense is better.
Yes.
They're playing better at this time of the year. They have better quarterback and receiver. Their defense is worse. So those numbers, you know, there's certain things that make you feel like, well, maybe BYU can do it. It's just that we just don't know what you're going to get out of the quarterback. We never go into a game feeling good about BYU when we don't know what's going to happen with the quarterback. Maybe this is Cade Finnegan's moment. Because if you're Cade, think about the opportunity here, should Jaron not go. Hey, I know they're going to bring in maybe 1 or 2, at least 1, maybe 2 guys. I'm competing for the starting spot next year. What if I have a great bowl game? That would really catapult Cade into an interesting place. Should he have a great game? And if BYU wins, like, this is an opportunity for Cade. He came to BYU for this type of game.
Yeah.
So maybe he rises up in a way that we haven't anticipated. We've just seen him play once. It was against one of the best BYU teams ever in 2020, and it was tough for him to navigate that as a guy who that week probably wasn't expecting to play much. He admitted as much in Deep Blue. Hey, I'm third string. Suddenly he's in the game against BYU, a team he grew up rooting for. His dad played here, ... And he has 2 touchdowns at the very end once the game is over. That was nice. But honestly, they were sort of garbage yards and touchdowns. Game was over. But it was something positive for a young quarterback. But in the big scheme of things, like, well, yeah, BYU's playing its third stringers, whatever. This is Cade Finnegan's moment, and maybe he does something. But it's hard to expect him to do something. If he does it, it will be a surprise and awesome.
he has nothing to lose.
Sure.
Seriously, he has nothing to lose.
He's not supposed to win the game.
No, he will surprise us. There will be some throws and some plays, and he's pretty athletic. He can run around a little bit. Even though he's been injured, we'll see him scramble and make some plays, and people will be like, okay. But this is his opportunity to solidify himself as the number 2 at BYU, behind whoever BYU brings in from the transfer portal, or if
in his
Jaron Hall
mind,
comes
to
back.
be the guy.
To compete for the job.
Hey, I want to be the guy. Let me show you in a game.
I don't know if a bowl game is enough, but maybe it's enough to
Probably not, but
grant Aaron Rodgers some confidence that, okay, let's have a competition.
Well, and if BYU brings in a really good, capable quarterback, Cade might be like, well, let me show you in practice that I'm the guy. Who knows?
Cade has an advantage. He knows the BYU offense better than whoever their Cougars are going to bring in at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
So, this is opportunity knocks.
And what's Cade's story? Cade is a kid that comes out of Dallas, played at high-level football in Texas, does really well.
Was probably recruited by SMU. I don't know. I need to follow up on that. Probably was.
Probably. Cliff Kingsbury is the head coach at North Texas at the time, and he really wants Cade. He really wants him, and Cade's interested. Then Cliff goes to be the OC at USC, and at the end of Cade's mission, he gets a lot of interest by USC to go there. That's how respected Cade was at high school. Ends up going to Boise State, felt like it was a good fit. Ends up having an opportunity to be a scholarship quarterback at BYU, and here he is. And now he's got a chance, perhaps, in the New Mexico Bowl.
I can't wait for Cade Finnegan to start for the Arizona Cardinals and for the story to be completed for Cliff Kingsbury.
Yes. Sorry. Not Cliff Kingsbury. Graham Harrell.
Oh, Graham Harrell. Okay,
Graham Harrell's at North Texas,
Cliff
then USC. No. Yeah, wrong Texas Tech quarterback. Yeah.
Okay. Again, what do I expect? I expect BYU to battle hard. That's what BYU does. They play hard.
Well, I expect that every game.
It's going to be interesting. I'm very intrigued by this game because of so many new pieces for sure.
I'm scared to death and I'm excited at the same time.
I mean, if I said to you, just looking at BYU's opening day roster compared to what they're going to roll out in the bowl game, I said, okay,
it's bad, dude.
No Jaron, no Gunner, no Lopini, no Keenan Peely, no Peyton Wilgar, no Max Tooley, no Malik Moore. Your top 4 defenders are all out.
No win.
You say no win.
That's what I'm saying.
Right?
Yeah.
It is fair to expect BYU to fall short in this game. But that doesn't take away from the idea that there is always hope.
Well, and
hope is all we have.
And does SMU not stir up comeback emotions?
Yes.
Perhaps the comeback isn't 21 with 4:20 left in the game. It's, even our own guys were saying we were going to lose this on our air. We're depleted staff and roster, and maybe that's sort of the summoning that some of these backups need for BYU.
Well, maybe the nothing to lose attitude
perhaps
is so beneficial for BYU that they go out and they just ball out, and the offensive line is awesome, and BYU establishes a run game with Chris Brooks.
And I'm telling you, this doesn't matter. If BYU loses, we'll just go, yo, Big 12, baby. If BYU wins, we'll be like, sweet, 8.
But if they win, we'll say, oh, man, they did it with a third-string quarterback and a bunch of reserves. Awesome.
We'll play that card again from 2019 Boise State.
Absolutely.
We
will, yeah. So, but if it's a loss, you're right. Whatever.
Big 12.
Whatever.
It's all good. Oh, we're going to a P5. We didn't even care about this G5
but
opponent.
But if BYU wins, BYU fans will play that card so hard. Oh, my gosh. Can you believe with all of this, the depleted roster and a very short-staffed scenario on the coaching front that BYU got it done?
Rashee Rice will be with the Ravens in 2 years. We'll be like, remember when we beat that guy?
Oh, yeah. Forever New Mexico champs going to the Power 5 and the Big 12.